Welcome back to Move Fort Mill Forward. Our first special guest today is David Hudspeth, and David is town manager of Fort Mill. David, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me here today. I'm glad to be here.
You bet. The town is growing, and so I imagine is your job.
The town is growing, although we've slowed a little bit over the last year or two. We are still seeing some growth, but that's an issue we've dealt with, I guess, in the 12 years that I've been with the town. The first 10 were growing like gangbusters, and so that was kind of the problem we dealt with for that whole period of time. Now we're much more subdued in the number of homes that we're building, but we're grateful that we are building a few.
Sure. And you know, we just a little while ago finished a great festival that you guys had, and it's one that everybody's buzzing about, has been buzzing about, and that is the South Carolina Strawberry Festival. And you have to be happy with the turnout on that. What was your feeling?
Yeah, I think so. There was a lot of buzz going before the event. We really didn't know what to expect, and it really exceeded all our expectations with the number of people that attended, just the quality of everything, the entertainment, the food, the behavior of all the people that came to the event, and very few comments that you could categorize as negative at all. I mean, there's always a long line to get a hamburger or something like that, a little bit of traffic, but for the most part, I think it went off without a hitch. And for the first Strawberry Festival in South Carolina, our first try at it, I think it was an excellent job done by everybody involved.
Fantastic. I noticed your crews were working real hard late night between events and stuff to get things cleaned up and up again in the next day, and they did it. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I was there. I won't say that I was doing much of the work. I was watching a lot of it, but I was very impressed with how quickly they got everything taken care of and ready to go the next day.
That's super. How many folks, did you come up with any numbers, basically how many folks?
Yeah, we actually have always tried to say, well, put a number on how many people come to the events that we have, and it's always just a guess. And I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience trying to look at 5,000 people and guess how many it is. But so we actually put counters at the gates this year where all the people entered. And while it's not completely scientific, we think we got a good count. Had probably 7,500 people or so Friday night, and then close to 10,000 on Saturday. It was stretched over a much longer period of time, but over the weekend, I think conservatively we had 17,000, 18,000 people.
So the town considers it a screaming success at this point.
I think so. Yeah, that's again, it's much more than what we anticipated. But we expected less, but tried to plan for more, and so we have some contingencies in place. And for the most part, we're pleased with them. I mean, again, I'm sure the people that had to wait in some of the lines were not particularly happy about that, and we'll do our best to shorten those lines at future events.
I was going to say, now you got a challenge to build on what you just did. That's wonderful. That's great. Well, tell us a little bit about the town. Now, as you mentioned earlier, things have slowed just a little bit in the construction. Of course, they're slowing all over the country at this point in time. But what's going on with the town that you're excited about?
Well, we do still have some construction going on, some single-family construction, some multifamily construction, and actually have a shopping center that's being built right now. So. If you compare us to many communities around the state, they would love to see that kind of activity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I understand we did a show a little while ago about a park that's a Veterans Park that's being planned.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of planning for the park and in the fundraising stage right now, and that really determines how quickly we'll be able to put the plans into practice. But hopefully, we'll make some strides in that in the near future and be able to get that off of go.
Good. So, is there actually some good interest in that, do you think?
There's a lot of interest in it, particularly with people that have lived in Fort Mill for a long time, and everybody has a soft spot in their heart for veterans and wants to see that succeed. Sure. It's a pretty ambitious project, and it's going to require a substantial amount of fundraising to be undertaken. So I think just got to try to secure a couple of big donors to get the ball rolling, and once that happens, I think we'll see some momentum moving it forward.
Super. How about the theater? Is that still on the drawing boards? Or
well, the theaters, it's still something under consideration, and sometimes I hear in sports teams a lot of times the best trade we ever made was the one we didn't make,
right.
And I think we put a lot of effort into studying the theater and trying to figure out what to do there, and just don't know if we're going to be able to make that happen right now. The cost is so high, and the venue being the size it is, it's going to be a real challenge to make the numbers work on that. We haven't given up, and we're still entertaining ideas and maybe some public-private partnerships there. But so don't want to write it off. But when we got the price tag and some professional help from some consultants to tell us what they thought we should do, we had our own ideas about what we thought we should do. But not being in the theater business, we really wanted somebody to confirm that. And once they did, it kind of was an eye-opener for us that it's much more money than we had anticipated in order to make it something that's truly a functional performing arts center or any kind of entertainment venue. So we're back to the drawing board, but we're not giving up.
Okay, good deal. A lot of folks want to know, how's downtown health? Everybody's concerned about the downtown, of course, and how it's growing or where it is. What are your feelings?
Well, I think it's kind of relative to what your expectations are. Certainly, it's probably not the hustle and bustle people saw in the decades past, in the 50s and 60s or even earlier. And I can speak for the last 12 years, but it's probably more active now than it's ever been since I've been here. And we've got a brand new restaurant. It's opened up downtown. It's opened up at night. It's good to see a lot of traffic in there. So now we have 3 or 4 restaurants on Main Street. And trying to take that always is good to get people downtown. Right. And got a little bit of nighttime activity on Main Street and in the surrounding areas. So I think we've done some things over the years. We've improved the availability of parking and the aesthetics of that, renovated Town Hall, built the Spratt building downtown. It's a venue where you can rent space and have parties and things like that. So got a lot of activity there. Still not where we want to see it, but we're striving to get there. And again, I think we're making progress.
Great. Any major goals in the future that you're kind of keeping under wraps? You can kind of let us in on it a little bit.
Well, we've got a lot of projects and a lot of things that we want to pull the trigger on. And of course, with I hate to kind of bring things down and talk about the economy, but they're really just kind of sitting there waiting to go and till we get through whatever funding crisis we're in right now. We've done a good job over the last 5 years or for the last decade, really, of managing our money. We've got a good, healthy surplus fund balance that we can draw on. But with municipalities, you really are supposed to spend all the money you take in for the most part each year. So that fund balance is not going to sustain you. It's kind of a nice rainy day checkbook to have. Sure. But so we have challenges as our revenues, the increase in our revenues slows down, and the funding from the state slows down. So it's a real challenge to try and meet the basic services that we meet every day, pick up the garbage, patrol the streets and all that sort of thing. Right. And to take on some projects like the theater, like recreation space and things like that. You just have to work those in any way you can afford them. And we've been very successful in doing that over the years, and have a lot of good ideas that we'd like to pursue, but really just are dependent on some funding in those areas.
David, you're a busy guy.
Well, it seems like it, but that's a good thing.
Thanks for spending some special time with us today.
Thank you.
Folks, we've been talking with David Hudspeth, who is the town manager of the town of Fort Mill.